Oh, yeah.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to our artist talk of this week. Today, with me, I have an insane artist who I've been wanting to speak to for a while, ever since I discovered their work. I have with me Goliath. Um,
How you
uh,
doing? How you doing?
hey, I guess for those listening who haven't heard any or who do not know of your work at all, if you want to give them like a little 5 minute introduction about you.
Um. Okay, so basically, really kind of describe. I would say it's kind of mix of pop or pop. Not really
Uh, you're
pop.
you're cutting out a little bit.
Okay, give me like 1 second. Figure this out. Can you hear me better?
No, it's
Hold
cutting out a
on.
little.
Crazy. So, how about now? Better, worse, or
It's okay.
dang.
Oh,
Yeah, this is like me. Apologize. Oh wait, actually, I know why. Here we go. My apologies.
yeah, it's
How
all good.
about now?
Oh, it's
Now it's
so
good.
much. Oh yeah, that's better.
Okay, yeah, yeah, because I actually just stepped outside, just connecting to the Wi-Fi and stuff. But anyway, if I could really describe my work, I would say there's a lot of like pop culture influences. I really like to center things around like nostalgia, or just like that sort of nostalgic, warm feeling that you usually feel. It's kind of weird, asking about like my work, like because it's been in such a transitioning period.
Mm.
Because like before, I was going for stuff that were just like, oh, I just want to draw cool shit, just like, man, it'd be really dope if I made a piece that's just called Kids See Ghosts, and it's just
Mm.
like this, Asian girl with her eyes bleeding because she, with like ghost hands, you know what I mean? It's just like, just stuff like that. Like I was like really heavily centered around like, those sort of themes because I always thought like, if something just was like conceptualized to look cool or to look like aesthetically pleasing,
Mm.
then it'll be a hit. But I guess these days I've been centered around like pieces that revolve around more of just like it's really hard to explain, man. Honestly, it's such a hard question.
Oh well, no.
I guess whatever just it feels good, honestly.
We'll get to it because I have some questions, and I before this I took the time to essentially sort of scour through your Instagram, right? Because I
Oh
remember
yeah,
jumping in on a Twitter Spaces, and you had mentioned that you painted traditionally before you started painting some stuff digitally,
yeah.
and that's when I was like, okay, I got to see this traditional stuff that you made because I'm a traditional painter as well. And
Oh yeah.
I looked at some stuff and I was just like, oh shit. And like my first introduction to your work was actually when the great MF Doom, may he rest in peace, passed away. And then Sirisu Ahab retweeted your rhinestone painting. And
Nice.
I saw that and I was like, what is this? And then I zoomed in and then I was like, oh my fucking god.
Oh yeah, appreciate you. It's so crazy because like this is like probably the best comment I've ever gotten was where someone like looked at my pieces and they were like, "Yo, I love how you just 3D rendered these like paintings and stuff." And I was like, "Dude, I've never touched a 3D program in my life, but just the fact that like when someone just like looks at my work and they just automatically assume that oh, there was like like a 3D software involved is like okay, cool. Like I'm getting somewhere like in terms of just like skill set." So yeah, it's really nice. I'm glad that like that was the first introduction to my work was that piece because honestly, if I could say what my favorite piece would be, that's definitely up there. Because yeah, like I definitely just challenged myself in that sense. Challenged myself when it came to like aesthetics and not only that, but just values and colors and whatnot. It was definitely a shift uh when it came to like not only even just like art wise but just even like how many eyes were on me after that piece. That was when people really started getting introduced to me because I was really the first piece that I made that like started popping off on Twitter and Instagram and stuff like that, so that's crazy.
I mean, man, it's a great piece. It's
I
one of my
appreciate
favorite.
that. Thank you.
It's like one of my favorite things was when I zoomed in on MF Doom's face and I realized you had screen tone,
Yeah,
texture on it, and I was like, oh shit, okay, we're fucking. This is a layers game. This is right because to those listening, like when you zoom in a work, you'll immediately be able to tell like if it's good or not. And just
yeah,
when I zoomed in on Rhymestone, I was just like the noise, oh the screen
yeah.
tone textures, oh the layers, the different color. I was blown away, legitimately.
Yeah. You
It,
know what's so crazy too? Like if you asked me to do it again, I wouldn't even know how to. This is one of those things that like when I was creating it, I was just so in the zone and just like, like caught up in the moment. Just like clicking different things, just doing all these just different stuff. Like I really think that was like a lightning in a bottle like piece. You know what I mean? Like there's certain things like honestly when it comes to like pieces, I'm very like meticulous. I'm like okay, like to the T. Like okay, I know exactly what color I want. I know exactly how I want the composition. I know exactly how I want like everything just kind of conceptualized. But with that piece, it was more like a fuck it, I'm just gonna go with the flow. You know what I mean? I just went with the flow and I just kind of went with all the feelings I was just feeling at the moment.
oh man,
And then it just hit. It kind of surprised me. I was like, damn, I didn't think I was gonna pop off this hard, honestly. So
it's yeah. I from my experience, when a painting surprises you, like as an artist, right? You're like, okay, that's a good one. I mean, even myself, I'm
yeah,
like, whoa. And man, like just looking at it, it's like my favorite thing is when when a work looks like it's fun and it looks fun to make, right? It looks like you had fun with this piece, right? Compared to
oh
like,
yeah,
and that's one of my favorite things is legitimately I look at some of your works and I can tell what like you're having fun. And also some works of yours I stare at like tiny details and your color choice blows my fucking mind.
dude, I'm glad. Thank you, like that. Thank you for saying that because I really be thinking too. I'm like, damn, I really hope that they're like they pay attention to like the small details, of, like how I kind of colored this. You know what I mean? Or just the textures. You know what I mean? Because like, I feel like in this day and age where like, everyone's kind of digesting everything, in such a short amount of time, in such a quick amount of time, it's just like I don't really think everyone just kind of like sits and like listens or sits and like really watches and appreciates and stuff like that. So, just the fact that like, you actually, took the time to like actually sit down and just be like, damn, like I just like how he just did that in that sense. And oh my God, like that's appreciate you for that, brother. Thank you.
Anytime that's what I try to do. Like my biggest thing on when I do like artist breakdowns, or I just tell people you got to open the IPFS file and zoom in. You have to zoom in. You have to because it's like
Yeah,
we like as artists we don't realize that we sort of zoom in with our eyes by going up close to the work and just like moving up and down, scrouching, like squinting, and then
yeah,
with NFTs you also still have to do that sort of thing to like
of
look at
course.
the work. And man, it just like also like the figures that you put in your work are fucking are gnarly too. It's like I'm looking at Ego Trip right now, and dude, it's like that's actually it's one of my favorite pieces of yours because it's also like I like the arm, the way you painted the arm. I'm just like wow, and then the dude in the
Yeah,
background with the phone. I'm like okay,
yeah.
okay,
You
this is
you know it's crazy because I was literally the first piece where I was like introduced to like mixed media,
okay.
if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, yeah. Because all right, so like I'm like
Mm,
super big on like textures, and like there's certain textures that you can't really get using only like one medium. So sometimes like it's best to like for example when you say like how the arm is painted, I actually used gouache, gouache is basically like opaque watercolor. So like if you dilute it enough, it comes out as watercolor. But if you kind of keep it, and it's in like straight out the tube, then it has like the applications of like acrylic. So then
it's
on top
true.
of that, you use yeah. It's actually that's one of my favorite. If you really want to get into like acrylics and like watercolors and stuff, yeah, you should definitely look into gouache. But on top of that, you get Copic markers or like Prismacolor, like alcohol based markers, as like
Mm,
a surface before you apply the gouache, and it's just like you just get all these crazy fucking textures, dude. Like, and when I realized that, like when I was like working on that piece, I was like, yo, what if I did this, or what if I got like got some color pencils, and or what if I
Yeah.
got some like, yeah, and just like just like throwing anything, just anything and everything, you know what I mean, just to make it like pop, and so I'm glad that really is like one of my favorite pieces as well, because that like that, similar to Rhymestone, it kind of forced me to push myself
Mm.
artistically and to try different mediums to get that you know uh aesthetic, or just to get that look that I wanted, just a different approach, really.
Oh man, it's like it's great to those listening. Like, some knowledge just got dropped about gouache. It's when I I my teachers in painting school, essentially, one of my teachers spent about like a good 3 months convincing me to move from acrylics to oils. And when I did
Oh
so, I
yeah.
was like, oh, this is what you're talking about. And then I realized, and then I had trouble going back to acrylics after that because the drying time is just way too quick. And then my teacher goes, "Yo, just try gouache," and I was like, "Why?" And then he goes, "Like, it's reactivatable as well." And then I was like, "What the
Oh
fuck?"
yeah.
And
Yeah.
and then he was like, "Yeah, all the '60s like Santa Claus illustrations, all that's gouache." And I just fucking lost my shit. I was like, "The fuck you mean?" He's like, "Yeah, Frank Frazetta's also gouache," and I'm like, "Frazetta's gouache?" Like some
Yeah.
of, I was like, "What do you mean Frazetta's gouache?"
Yeah, honestly, like it's crazy what gouache can do. Because I remember my color theory teacher. She actually told me that, like, because she was the one that
Mm,
really put me onto it. Because in college, or like when I was in college, like before I dropped out and all that shit, like she was like, okay, you need to get this medium, which is gouache and stuff. And then
mm,
she's like, okay, so everybody, like, in the '60s, like especially when it came to advertisements, like Coca-Cola advertisements, they all use gouache. And then, like, one thing that I really fucking love about gouache is like what you just said is reactive. So like, you can leave gouache for 3 or 4 days, come back to it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Wet it a little bit, and it's just like you never left. So
exactly.
it's a really amazing like medium. I would go back to, but like I ain't gonna lie, man. Like digital just spoils me, dog. I'm spoiled. Like, you know what I mean? To it's hard to get out of the digital space because of how convenient it is,
It's true.
especially like as someone who's like as messy as I am and who likes to move around a lot. You know what I mean? I just it's just so easy just to get exactly like precisely the look you want, to the T.
Oh, it's so true. I had a talk where somebody showed me how to use the opacity brush correctly, and I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh shit, okay."
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it's
It's
like,
funny because like
yeah, well,
oh, sorry.
no, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say like opacity brushes is similar to like watercolor markers, or not
It's
watercolor
true.
markers,
Um,
alcohol based, like
the Copic ones, or is our
yeah,
Copic?
yeah, yeah. Just like it, like damn near, like the same aesthetic and everything.
Actually, now that I think about it, yeah, you are actually, yeah. Oh shit.
Yeah. Well, I realized that like when I first picked up like digital, like when I got into Photoshop, I was like, okay,
Mm,
so how can I really get that like Copic, like Prismacolor look where you kind of layer it multiple times and it gets darker,
okay.
as you apply it. And yeah, that's opacity. That's the opacity brush.
Well, man, now I'm curious. Like, when did you start? Like, you mentioned a little bit like a while back. You were in college and then you dropped out of college. But when did you start? When like did drawing become not a career or like a passion thing, but like a little hobby, right? Like, when did you start slowly like drawing? I'm curious.
Uh, so I mean, it really kind of days back to like, okay, so like, I feel like I told this story like a lot,
Mm.
but I'm trying to like really remember. Like, okay, so basically, I had this teacher in I think it was like either kindergarten or the first grade. No, it would have to be kindergarten. Okay,
Mm.
so I had this teacher in kindergarten or whatever, and I think it was like this talent show going on or whatever. I'm just drawing, doing my little doodles or whatever, and then my mom was there, and then she looked at my drawings, and she looked at, she told my mom, she was like, yo, your son is going to be an amazing artist when he grows up. Like, and she said that with like full seriousness. Like, he's gonna be an
Nice.
amazing artist. Yeah, so I don't know. It's just hearing that as a kid, and you know what I mean. It's just like what, like word is like that, like for real, huh? Like, and just like once I heard that, and then my mom also just like encouraging me all the time, like because like she's like, okay, so she sees it in you, and I see
Mm,
it in you, so like you're gonna if you want to do this, like you're gonna do this, and like I'm gonna push you to do it, and she's always been like encouraging me to always like apply myself in that sense. So I've always been drawn as a kid, and it also kind of helped because like I was homeschooled from like first to fifth. I think it was
okay.
like basically throughout a whole elementary. So I really don't know why. Honestly, I think it is
Yo,
just
that's
weird.
cool though. That's actually pretty
Yeah,
cool.
I mean,
Damn.
honestly, it helped. It
Mm,
because I actually, man, like I be thanking her sometimes. Like I'm like, yo, thank you for doing that. Because honestly, like she's like way ahead of her time, given the fact that like not everybody's homeschooled. So it's like it is just funny because like when you're in that setting or when I was in that setting, it's like that's all I did was draw. Like literally, I'm
nice.
like no bullshit, like no bullshit. Every single day, you would not catch me without a pen, a pencil, like literally just drawing, doodling, watching Cartoon Network while I'm doing my like online courses or whatever. And I was like really on it. Like it was almost like it was like insanity. You know what I mean? Like that's essentially what it was. It was just like I was just always drawing. So um, what happened? So basically, so like always growing up, man, I was always that kid in the class, and I was just always drawing. I wanted to always be an artist, I didn't really
Mm,
think being a full time artist was really like possible. It was always like a dream. Like it'd be nice if I
mm,
can make some money off of this, but regardless of what I'm doing, I know that like at the end of the day, that, like this is my passion. This is my hobby. Not even a hobby. It's just my life. You know what I mean? Like there is no my name is Rashid, by the way. Like there's no
nice.
Rashid without art. You know what I mean? So it's like there's no Goliath without art. It's just who I am. It's like in my being to always to create. Because when I'm not creating, like my laptop literally broke today, and I wasn't even able to like do any work, and even still, I'm like, oh dang, like it's like an itch. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's like,
it's you become restless and you just like, what the fuck do I do?
yeah, because I'm like, I'm like, what do you do with like all this free time, basically? But yeah, I mean, honestly, when it came to doing it professionally, or when I'm like, okay, when I sat down and thought to myself, okay, this is what I really want to do for a living, I was like 19. I remember I was like 19. I was living in Florida, and I was like, okay, so I know as
Nice.
good as I am, as good as I am, and as good as I want to get, like I have to not only apply myself through art, I have to actually apply myself through marketing and networking and stuff like that. So I started like pushing myself, in the local scenes or whatever, and then I realized that I wasn't really getting a lot of reception. Not really
Mm,
like a lot of reception. Everyone saw like, okay, he's dope. Like he could do what he got to do. But I guess it was just like the scene that I was set in. It was very like decorative.
okay.
That's the best I can describe it. It was like very decorative. Yeah, it's like they really didn't put artists in the forefront. Like they always kind of gave that position to like the music artists. You feel me? And then
I see.
it's like, oh yeah, like what I'm saying. Like it's just like, okay, like we're about to throw this dope show. Okay, like God, the music artists. Da, da, da. Oh, you do art? Okay, we'll just give you like a wall like over there in the corner. Like okay, nice. And
Oh, it's one of
yeah, it's like
those.
one
Okay.
of those. Yeah, so like I peeped that, and it's just like I'm not digging that. You know what I mean? Like you gotta get in where you fit in, and it's just I feel like I wasn't really like respected. As much as like I had the accolades or I had like
Mm,
the visibility on me, I still felt like there's just certain places or there's certain I put myself to a standard. Like I don't want to go below this. Like if I want to be somewhere where I'm fully appreciated and not just looked at as like a decoration.
oh, that's absolutely fair, and I mean,
Yeah.
one of my biggest things that shocked me in this space is realizing a bunch of artists that joined the NFT space, right? And it's like Twitter makes it seem where it's like everybody's the same, right? It's like you don't see the
Yeah.
follower count when you're interacting with people unless you're on your profile. So I'm talking to people normally, and then come to find out a few months later they have like insane followings on Instagram, right?
Yeah.
But they're talking about how they're getting their validation as artists when they entered the NFT space, and that's when I became aware. I was like, oh shit, there's some weird going on in the real life space where it's like shit's being used for likes and show, and like you said, decoration, and it's not being pushed to the forefront, right? And I was like,
Yeah.
damn.
It's good to see how far NFTs have given. a platform for artists who've needed it for so long, dude.
It's
It
true.
really blows my damn mind every single day when I'm seeing my friends making $10,000 within a day.
Yep.
And then,
Yep.
you know what I mean? And then seeing like, you know what I mean? Just seeing that type of stuff, bro. I just be getting so happy and just so giddy. It really gives me hope because, like, like not too long ago, I was out here trying not to get lowballed
Mm.
for like a piece for like $200. Like that was
Yeah.
I
Yep.
was like, you know what I mean? Like, man, before I even got into NFTs, I bullshit you not. 2 days before I got into NFTs, I was like putting in job applications because I was like, fuck, I haven't eaten in 2 days, dog. Like, I'm starving. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm.
I'm literally like broke. You feel me? So like, I need to start like applying myself in other places, and maybe I have to kind of put art on the side for a little bit so I can make this money, so I can like feed myself, so I can get my bills together. So, but then I was just like, I had like this like my last $200. I was like, fuck, like,
Nah.
okay, like, should I just like, waste this money, like bullshit around or whatever, or should I just like kind of put this into NFTs and then, hey, maybe see where it goes? And then I did it, you know what I mean? Like a few days later, which is crazy. It's like, it's kind of like when I was kind of coming into these group chats and
Mm.
all these spaces, where they're talking about NFTs. Everyone's telling me, he's like, oh, like NFTs is all about patience, so like, yo, you like your first piece might not sell for a few months,
Oh yeah.
just be prepared for that. And then I was just like, word. So like in my head, I'm just like, okay, so I'm about to be in this for a minute, and then
Yeah.
like literally less than 2 weeks, and I like probably like 8 days, like I sold my first piece.
Nice.
And I was like, holy
Nice.
shit. Yeah, I was like, damn, okay. And then 3 days later, I saw my next piece. And then like it's just crazy. Like it's just like a domino effect.
Yeah, it's
Like 5 days later, after that one, I saw another piece or something like
nice.
that. It was like all within like I saw like my first three NFTs like in 1 month, and I sold another three in the next month, and then I just sold like my recent one like yesterday. So
Yeah,
I've really been in space for like 2 months. Yeah. So
it's great. Is I that's the one thing I was tweeting about this yesterday. It's like a lot of us who entered the space, like we got enough to taste blood in the water, and then we stayed, and then we're slowly like reaping the rewards. Cause like
yeah.
I remember I had the same thing when I first joined. Like I didn't make like big sales, but the first sale was just enough for me to be like, wait a minute, because
Oh yeah.
right, you pay attention, because like I remember in my own university, I was like trying to sell my Goya drawing studies for like fucking $10 or $20 to fundraise like our vernissage for like our final show, and it was like great, but I was like, that's a fucking $10 drawing, you know.
Right. Yeah.
and then
Literally.
and then you go there, like, and you enter the NFT space, and then you just immediately just get like artistic validation. You're like, oh, okay, shit,
Yeah.
I'm here.
Because yeah, because now you're getting paid what you're literally worth.
Exactly.
Because like, man, I don't really think I don't think that I'm not gonna say this is everybody
Mm,
or like, but there's just certain people that really just don't appreciate like art. They might like it. They're obviously
absolutely.
coming to you for a reason. They like your aesthetic. They like what you have to offer. But it's like, do your wallets appreciate me just as much as you appreciate me? You know what I mean? And it's just like, not
Absolutely.
to make it all about money, but it's just like there's just certain things that have to come in mind. Like I have to feed myself. I got people I have to
Exactly.
support. So it's just like it's just not. It can't just be a $10 drawing or $50. You know what I mean? It's like I need to get paid for the hours I put in for
Exactly.
for, for my skill set. So like now just being in this space is like, okay, like I'm around people who are actually invested, not even as like artists, but just like as legitimate collectors. They
It's
see
true.
like the value in what you have to offer, and even in the long term, and they're just like, I want that. I like what you got going on. I respect you. So like, it's cool, bro. It's really good to see.
Oh man,
It's phenomenal.
it's insane, and it's like my favorite thing is also like just work that has been sort of kept on the side is finally getting its due, right? And
Yeah.
um, like I want to talk about a few pieces of yours specifically, but I don't know if you heard. Did you hear anything about the Yatrada collection that launched and what
Uh,
happened?
not, not at all.
So, you tried as an Ethiopian artist and like insane. Like I describe her work as like this sort of post-colonial neo-Orientalist reclamatory work, right? Where it's like you know how in like the 1800s and the 1700s, you know, Europeans would come into Africa and shit and take pictures, and then they would make Orientalist paintings. But then us growing up now, we realize how fake those paintings sort of are, right?
Huh.
And then
Okay.
and so in turn, there is this like this sort of thing now where it's instead of, you know, the foreigner coming in and sort of fictionalizing the setting in Ethiopia, right? It's been switched, right? Where it's the insider, right? An Ethiopian
Right.
native is the one recording Ethiopian culture true to its eyes, right? And I was like, oh
Oh, okay. I
shit,
get you.
here we go.
Right. Right. Right.
We entered the fucking game, and
Yeah.
so like what happened with that thing is we went to war for bidding. Like I messaged Sirsu, Vane Sirsu, and I was like, dude, I don't have enough to bid on a single one. Fuck any of those. Let's start a fucking party bid. And
Hell yeah.
and then we got it. But in my brain, I was like, holy shit, this is life changing shit, right?
Yeah.
And
Hell yeah.
to me myself is I when I look at the three pieces, well actually four pieces now, Under the Sun,
Yeah.
Interlude, No Child Left Behind, and Me and Your Mama, I sort of
Yeah.
get the same sense of like that I'm probably gonna mispronounce it again, reclamatory sort of image or attempt at, you know, identity, right? Where it's like finally I'm getting to see things how they are from the correct gazes and the correct lenses, and it's not sort of gone through like
Different type of filter, I guess, or like a
I
different
feel
type of person, or
yeah, a filter, and it's also like sort of some sort of attempted like beautification or like fetishization, you know? It's like,
yeah. Yeah.
and I was actually curious, like, because well, in some of your work, I get a sense of introspection, right? Because there's like
Yes.
this one figure staring at either another much smaller figure or a flower, right? And
Yeah.
personally, I think that in thought, but then you have these four different works where a figure, right? Who's
Yeah.
and I'll say this just because it's still like I view it because I'm Egyptian and I see myself in the work. It's like a figure
Oh.
who's non-white, right, running to
Yeah.
his mother, to a motherly figure, right, and
Yes.
like shit, you don't see that shit. Like I didn't see work like that in my fucking art history classes, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I love how you said introspection. 'Cause that's basically all my work is. You know, that's what it has been since the beginning. Like Goliath, like the name Goliath is
Mm,
a name given to my ego. You know, like because I truly believe that you know that the ego, like, you know, the fictional giant, you know, he had an
mm,
ego so big, but he was taken down by a kid, you know, with a slingshot. And I thought that was more like an allegory for, like, you know, just to not get too you know, full of yourself, because, you know, life will humble you. And just, and you know, things like Me and Your Mama, or just like, you know, things like No Child Left Behind. It's just my current like mind state at the moment,
mm,
where, you know, I'm in a place of healing, because, you know, before I was making work because I was in a dark place, but, you know, I
mm,
wanted to have fun. It was a weird kind of chaotic mess, you know, that showed, like, you know, an ego trip and stuff like that. But I guess right now it's just I'm healing from like emotional wounds and emotional scars,
mm,
and I'm trying to be a better person, and, you know, I'm trying to find myself, you know, through that, you know. So it's just cool that people are now like resonating with it, because like these are pieces that like are really coming from the soul. You feel me?
mm,
Like especially Under the Sun, because I do have like a very nice relationship with my mom now, finally, because, you know, we butt heads
mm,
before, but I realized that I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be the person I am if it wasn't for her. You know, like every sort of accomplishment that I've made thus far, like she's the first person I tell, and it's just cool that she even gets like excited every time I send her prints, you know. So it's just like I wanted to like to really like capsulate that feeling of just like motherhood, you know. So and also one thing about No Child Left Behind
Mm.
also is because um I was getting a lot of claims like
Well,
people just telling me I was like,
I was
huh,
gonna
what's up?
ask about that later too, because I was like, I didn't see what happened on Twitter, and I was like, what? Who was trying to give you shit about this piece?
Yeah. I was like, what's going on? Yeah, so I don't know, man. They was calling me a colorist and da, da, da. I was
Jesus.
like, what? I'm like, that's what you took out of that? Like, out of this piece, out of a piece called No Child Left Behind?
Yeah.
But basically, I mean, what the piece essentially is, and you know, I'm always going to leave it up to interpretation. But I
Mm,
guess my interpretation of it is just because, like, you know, black women, especially black children, black girls, you know, they've always been demonized. You know what I
mm,
mean? So it's almost like giving power back. Like we're gonna uplift them regardless of all these sort of like stigmatisms and you know negative connotations about them, and we're gonna uplift them. We're gonna you know just like bring them to
mm,
God. You know what I mean? It's just that's what the piece was essentially supposed to be. You know, like regardless if you see me in this sort of light,
mm.
like I'm still, you know, human. I'm still a child, and I will not be left behind. You know, regardless. So it's just kind of crazy that man, like the shit that motherfuckers was talking about, like,
Jesus.
oh no, this troll, no troll left behind. No, leave this one behind. You know, and I'm like, what? Like y'all racist. It kind of showed me, honestly, dog. Like
Mm,
one thing I realized, man, is that it says more about the individual who's actually perceiving the piece than the actual person, the messenger. You feel me? It's like
it's
how you
true.
react to this certain thing. It says more about you. So I always thought about that, especially when I was creating, especially when I was getting those sort of comments. I was just like, you know, honestly, I could react to this and then just be on some bullshit and then kind of just like go back and forth. But then I realized it's like, nah, I definitely the piece. It has some very strong and powerful imagery that you know some people just weren't really ready for. You know that it just hit an emotional scar, an emotional wound that you know that wasn't really that they probably didn't even know was there. You know, so and then it probably showed a side of them that they didn't want to see because you know in a sense they kind of resonated with that child maybe or they
Mm.
may have felt like you know they were demonized and you know I'm just really putting that to the forefront. But I don't know, just everyone's gonna misconstrue the message no
I
matter what it
mean,
is.
I'm looking at it, and it's like to me, it's like everything that has been painted all makes sense. You know, it's like even like the child is behind the sun, also, right? Like
Oh my, thank you.
you're not gonna see any detail, like headlights behind somebody. Literally, it's an outline.
Yeah,
That's
it creates a silhouette. Yeah,
and so and one of one of the things I liked in your works is also just like how the skin tone varied from all over the body, right? Because I remember
yeah,
I forget the name of the artist, but the artist that did the Mike Tyson drop, right? All his characters were blue, and his thing was
right.
I don't want to deal with race issues, therefore everybody in my paintings is blue. Done. And I was
Yeah,
like, that's fucking genius. And within some of your works is like, well, to those listening, and a bit of a Egyptian history, right? It's like Egypt's been mixed, right? We have people who are much darker skinned. We have people who are light skinned. We have people who we would consider to be white, right? And it's like in historical depictions, I always viewed and in like in historical depictions and looking at that historical context, like in comparison to your work, right? I always viewed the change of color in the skin tone as like this one thing where everybody, regardless of their skin tone, like finds themselves in the work, right?
yeah,
And I was,
exactly. No, it is.
and then to people like for people to attack you on that, I'm like, how? Like you could anybody like most people look at this work and can see themselves in it. Like what?
Yeah,
That's
I mean, honestly, I like to include like it's all about inclusion, especially when it comes
mm,
to art, especially when it comes to like you know things that kind of revolve around that sort of like you know topics or you know that like I want people to resonate with a character regardless of skin tones,
mm,
regardless of like, you know, that sort of thing. You know, that's why I like to keep most of my characters like a light pink, maybe blue, maybe, you know, yellow if I'm feeling like it. It's just like I like to do that because, you know, I don't because I want, you
mm.
know, like you, like an Egyptian person. I want them to see, like, to resonate with the child, or I want someone who's Mexican or black or white, to
Mm,
just look at something and be like, okay, like I can see myself, I can see my mother in these pieces. So that's like really important to me, just that the message is universal, regardless of me being, African or black,
mm.
so it's just important, man.
Man, it's great, and I'm looking at. I just realized how good you painted the mom's hands in Under the Sun because I'm staring at it right now, and I'm like, damn, dude, the foreshortening in that one. Like,
Yeah.
to those listening, go zoom in on every Goliath artwork. Your mind will be blown. Legitimately, I was like, I'm curious, like how you well, how do you pick your colors actually? Because man,
Man,
it's like so colorful. It's actually it's crazy. It's like I'm yeah, no, it's like I'm having fun with just colors. Like it's wild.
I appreciate you. Yo, it's crazy. Like someone asked me that question like yesterday,
Mm,
in one of the Twitter spaces, and it was kind of hard to like answer it because, man, like, okay, so how does it go? Basically, like I really like, one thing is that I really study colors. Like I really study the fuck out of colors, man.
mm,
Like color theory to a T, dude. Like I don't know what
okay.
it is about it, but I really, okay. So there's three principles to make anything look good, basically. So in art,
Mm,
if you get the colors, the concept, and the composition right, you can literally make anything look good. Like anything look good. So when I figured that out, especially with my own pieces, I was like, okay, cool. Who are my like masters, or who are my mentors?
mm,
Like who are the people who I look up to, who I want to emulate to bring my vision to life? And one person who I really found was there was two actually.
mm.
So in my earlier works, it was like Paper Frank. So a lot of like Paper Frank work, a lot of like Nuri Dur, and then just like it's really just
Okay.
studying your idols. Like people who you really resonate with, and
Mm.
then through them you find color theories and stuff like that. And then also you find your own research and stuff like that. So yeah, and then recently it's been a lot of James Jean. I just study his work, really how he shades, how he has his color theories and his textures and stuff like that. And I try to emulate that to the best of my abilities, but also adding a twist to it, because it
Tr-
really just takes a lot of studying, man. Like
it
that's the
does.
best way I could describe it. It's just studying and just fucking around.
And
Like you
and
fucking with a few colors, and then it just kind of makes sense. Oh, also too
mm,
is contrast.
yeah. Oh
Really
yeah.
understand contrast, like, cause I realize that there's certain colors that go next to each other, that either bring out
Mm,
one color and then kind of dull out the other color, and then when you kind of play around with the color contrast and stuff like that, you can literally make something to where, like, let's just say you're scrolling through Twitter, it's like you have no choice but to stop and look at it because it's just so like vibrant, because the contrast is just, it just hits so hard.
it's true. Yo, you're
Yeah.
you're dropping some mad fucking knowledge right now. Shit.
Yeah, yeah. I actually do want to start teaching like color theory classes also, because like there's just certain things that are better like described like
Mm,
visually, right, rather than like auditory. So
it's true.
yeah, I'm gonna try to like set up like a Patreon or whatever, so like I could like really break down color theory, because like I have so much I could teach people, so much I
It's
want to teach people, and I would do it, especially like on the Twitter Spaces, but I just don't really have like the platform to do it yet. So, but
it's
yeah, definitely look out for that in the future.
Oh, I absolutely will. Like, and my favorite thing is finally like I get to talk to other artists about fucking James Jean in the space because it's
Oh
been,
yeah,
dude. James Jean. For those who don't know, James Jean is like essentially an insane, and I legitimately mean insane artist. Everybody like I mean, Goliath, you've probably gone through his website, right? I go through
yeah.
his website all the time as like motivation just to look at how much this man has fucking produced. And I'm just like, damn,
Dude,
holy
like
shit.
how meticulous he is with his detail, his coloring. It's literally everything that I'm trying to encapsulate with my own work. You know what I mean? Like his colors are fucking phenomenal. His
Oh man,
concept,
and his symbolism,
phenomenal.
like his
Yeah,
symbolism is my like. I'm a big symbolism guy. That's my thing.
yeah,
And just like the cultural symbolism that makes its way into his work through like the use of flowers or food or certain figures. It's just like it's mind blowing. It's fucking insane. And
it
then
really is, man.
and now I get even more excited because I'm like, okay, I'm inspired by him and you're inspired by him and I fucking like your work. So like, what the fuck is what's your work gonna look like 10 years down the line? You know, like
Yeah, dude. Dude, I'm excited. Like I real life. I mean, every time I make a piece, I get like super excited. Like I'm cheesing. And, you know, it's actually funny because like I used to tell myself like I know I got a hit. I know I got like a nice one when I start laughing. When I start like giggling to myself, like as
yeah,
I'm making this, I'm like making the content. Like, oh, this is like this is funny. Like this is lit. You know. So like yeah, I don't know when you kind of get that feeling of like your inner child coming out, dude. It's just like oh like okay yeah, it's gonna hit. And it's just funny because like I'm 25 right now. I'm about to be 25 next
nice,
month on yeah.
nice.
So on November. So yeah, it's like dang, like I'm already like at a point where like I exceeded like where I thought I was gonna be at this age. You know what I mean? Because I thought I was gonna be like okay, I was gonna be an alright artist, but
Mm,
like now like seeing how my skills have progressed. And like, dang, at only 25, like when I'm still kind of young, imagine when I'm like 30, when I'm like when I really
exactly.
got shit under my belt. Like, dude, I get excited about that shit every day,
Yo,
dude. So
and we got in the NFT space early. It's like my
yeah,
it's like it's such an eye opener to go through the threads where people ask each other's age because I realize so many people are in their 30s in the NFT space and I'm like,
really.
oh dude, it's because it's like a lot of people onboarded from crypto into NFTs and a lot of like I know from my personal experience because I'm like trying to I like my Instagram. I don't post on it, but I just like use my story to post like NFT news and stuff.
Right.
And because of COVID, like my final graduation show got canceled. So I'm trying to like help my friends who like I feel like all of us been robbed, right? And so much resistance. There is still so much resistance from our generation still that I'm just like, damn. If we're here at 25 and I'm 23, like, and if you're here at 25, like, shit, where are we gonna be legitimately in 5 years? You know?
Yeah, honestly, it's just crazy because like it's still like such an untapped market that's definitely gonna like grow. You
It
know,
is,
as we grow as artists. So
and it's like,
that's what I'm really ready for.
and here's the cool thing is you're sharing you share a platform with James fucking Jean. You get to
Yeah,
it's like that's the wildest thing is like we like to those on foundations we share a platform with James fucking Jean, which is fucking wild. It's like
yeah.
who would have
It's like
imagined?
yeah, to be in the same like caliber, the same degree as like your idols, and just being the same platform as them is just it's just a beautiful thing, you know. So
It's
yeah, like I'm saying, like NFTs, man, has definitely just changed the game in so many different aspects of like my life and my friends' lives and stuff like that. And it's just crazy, man. Like Terrell, I don't know if you know Terrell, but it's like
oh
homies.
dude.
Yeah, he's going places. That dude is fucking phenomenal. So I can't wait to see what he produces in the near future, and you know where we will be like financially too, where we can support artists that were just in our position. Like not too long ago. It's just like man, it's just I'm ready, dude. I'm ready, man, to make a difference,
Oh
bro.
man, I can't wait. And
Yeah.
well, to those listening, like,
But
can they?
honestly, dude, I really appreciate just like having me talk. Just talk my shit for like how long has it been actually? Honestly.
We've been talking for 40 minutes.
40 minutes. Yeah, I just wanted to say like just not to really like cut it short or whatever. Just like really appreciate the platform, man.
Oh
If I
man,
have, if I haven't said it already, dude, because yeah, like it's nice. It's nice to give shine to like artists, who don't really have that big of a platform, yet. So I do appreciate you for allowing me to talk and to give my experiences through my art,
oh dude, it's
so on
no
and so
problem
forth.
at all, man. It's my biggest thing is I literally realized like I entered the space in October of last year, and I got my first sale and I stayed, and then I'm like I have a BFA, right, and so my BFA is like I'm looking for the art history shit, and like to me some of the art that's being created, right, including yours, including Tyrell's, including Yatrada, and even like I don't know if you've read the Sirisu's essay that he wrote, but even that shit, like I fully and wholeheartedly believe the people that are creating now are gonna be art history canon 5 to 10 years from now, legitimately,
Uh,
because the work that you guys are doing, right? It's flipping the space on its head, and it's literally every fucking art historian's wet dream, legitimately. Like because it's it's like it's crazy. It's like one of those things where it's like you go and you sit in class, and I mean, like from my experience, I would sit in class and I'd hear the teachers look at me and tell me how Egypt's history has been betrayed by the Europeans and all of that, and then and then they still try to like push me through one little edge to where how should my artistic critique be on there, and then here comes this evolving space where all artists are saying no, fuck that, we're not going to even play by these rules anymore, we're going to make our own rules, and that's how it starts. To me, it's like I'm like shit, we're fucking with art history canon now, like
yeah, yeah.
legitimately. It's
I can see that. Even how we're like, distributing art too is just completely changing. Like, before we had to like rely on galleries, just to sell. What I mean, the middleman to get to
exactly
these collectors. When like now we're just cutting off the middleman completely, and we're going directly to the collectors. So even in that sense, it's just more freedom. To just
exactly.
to do more things. It's cool too. Like to think. Like I tell people this a lot, that my favorite thing about getting into the NFT space is the freedom to say no.
Oh yeah.
Because yeah, like before, you used to do things out of desperation, or you had to do things because like, okay, I got like all these priorities, or all these responsibilities and stuff like that. So like I gotta like
I gotta do it.
I have to do this commission or whatever. But like now I could just be like, nah, I really don't feel like it. I don't think there's ever been like a time in our history, or probably has, I don't know, to my knowledge, where you
Mm,
can have so much freedom to just be like,
it's true.
nah, you know what I mean? It's just like,
It's
when
true.
has that really happened? Like, since like what, Da Vinci? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Or
it
where
hasn't.
we had this funding, is what I'm saying. Like, I don't remember a time where we've actually had so much funding given to like creators to just follow our passions, or to really create a fully realized idea.
It's true, and it's
So
like even like, how crazy is it that only it took us till 2021 to get royalties for artists going.
yeah, ain't that kind of crazy? Like, not think about yeah. That's the thing. Honestly, like, say if I sell mine for like, if I sell a piece for like millions, man, like I'm at least getting like 150, was like 150,000,
Yeah,
something like that.
it's
I don't know. But I don't really want to do the math right now. But yeah, it's just insane. It's just like how like my piece could be circulating through the space, and every time it gets passed on from a collector to collector, I'm getting a percentage out of that. Like,
it's yeah, and it's
so
like
that's generational wealth. That's literally how you produce generational wealth. So it's like, bro, we're
exactly,
getting there.
and it's
We're getting there, dude.
like imagine like if fucking like I remember my biggest thing is I 6 months ago, like fucking there was the first time like Christie's was doing a crypto auction, right? And
Yeah.
before the CryptoPunk collection, the 10 CryptoPunks went on auction, there was a Basquiat going for bidding, and it went for $66 million. And I was like,
Wow.
I don't remember. I don't actually fully know if Basquiat has any kids or whatever. But I was just like, even I was just thinking like, fuck, if Christie's just sold this for $66 million, imagine if his family, right, or anybody related to him had access to the royalties, or if he even had royalties for $66 million
I would
secondary
hope
market
so.
seller.
Yeah.
I hope so too, because it's like seeing shit like that, and you're like, fuck, families are getting screwed out of that one, and then with
Yeah.
and then the tech is gonna change it. It's like, who knows? Maybe your art will become. Well, I have a feeling your art will actually become like. I have a feeling a lot of art will become family heirlooms in like legitimately. We were talking about this in the Metakey. I was like, hey, Metakey might become a family heirloom one time, and art is definitely gonna become family heirlooms. It's just way too valuable.
Yeah, I would hope so, man. Honestly, like, it's kind of weird. Like, I never really like thought about that. Like, what happens to my work after I'm gone? You know, I should. That's something that should probably be talked about. 'Cause I really don't know. Like, ideally, I would want to give it to like my immediate family.
Mm,
You know, so like my brother. You know, my mom, of course, my dad, even who just like. But one thing I don't want is just like it just kind of circulating into space, and then just like this other entity that has
yeah,
no business having it just kind of takes it. Like the Basquiat thing, like man, like seeing his work on like clothes, and then just
it's
like
true.
I think he did something like with it was like some bullshit collab. I forgot what it was, but it was like on underwear or some shit. I was like, what the fuck, dude? Like you're. It's just kind of it irritates me sometimes to see somebody so talented and then just them like dying so young, and then their work or their like
It's
intellectual
true.
properties just get fucking basically just what I mean, like gang banged by
Misused.
these
Yeah.
corporations. It's just like, bro, like
Well,
give this man like what I mean, like
it's
give this
true.
man some what's the word I'm looking for? Like
Res- I,
you
well,
know
I
respect,
consider it to
yeah,
be like respect, and it's like it's like a hidden thing in the art world, right? Where
yeah.
um, I know this. Well, I don't know if you've seen the Bob Ross video, like the Bob Ross Netflix documentary, but
Oh,
his family doesn't own the Bob Ross name because they didn't follow
what?
with his wishes. Like he didn't put it in his will or whatever, or like they put it into the will, but the Kowalskis like did some shady shit to get the Bob Ross name, and now the Bob Ross name doesn't benefit anybody from the Bob Ross family,
Wow,
right?
what the fuck?
It's
I
fucked
did not know
up.
that.
And that was the moment I realized I was like, okay, that's why we need NFTs, because if I put my will into an NFT, nobody can fucking debate that shit, right?
Right.
And then dynamic NFTs kick in, and if anybody goes against my will, well, fuck you, I'm burning my shit. You know, automatic
Oh,
code, like code executed, like actual fallback plans, right? Because it's like, as artists, like so much shady shit happens to our work after we die, right?
yeah.
And a lot of collectors won't tell you this, but they hope artists die because then immediately no more work is being produced and the value goes up. And
Oh,
so,
huh.
oh, dude, the art market does some fucking pretty shady shit. Like legitimate. Like a lot of people will like hope the biggest artists in the world dies just so the value just jumps, right?
Bro, honestly, I think that they do that with music artists. Like, okay, this
Oh,
might
they
be like a
absolutely
crazy
do.
conspiracy. Like, yo, you call me a crazy conspiracist for this, but I low key think that some of these industries, the music industry people, be like putting hits on like major artists. So then that way, it's like once they die, like then they can start doing the whole post ominous like albums and
Straight
stuff
up.
like that. And then, it's just I really think they'd be doing it because like man, the music industry in itself is just so dark, dude.
It
It's like
is.
it's such a dark entity. So I wouldn't be surprised if that was like a practice,
Oh,
within it.
I was actually gonna bring up Pop Smoke's Pop's post. I always mispronounce
A
posthumous.
posthumous,
Yeah,
yeah.
his album, and then I remember another rapper. I forget his name. He also passed away, and
Is it
they.
X?
Well, no, I remember they released an X album after, but then there was Juice World. Juice World, when he passed
Just
away,
what
they,
it is.
they also released a post like an album after he died, and my biggest thing, I was like, what the fuck? Why? Like these are obvious. Like the big, I think it was Uzi who had it tattooed on something, where it's like, don't use my shit after I died. Some of the shit was not put out to the public for reasons, right? And I don't
Yeah,
want the public to hear it for reasons. And
yeah,
like the art industry, like my biggest thing with the music industry, I was like, oh shit, we're entering that phase when the whole like hologram shit started in
oh yeah,
with Tupac, because like I saw that and I was like, oh, I understand the message behind it. I understand how influential Tupac is, but that's a like that somebody's dead, and now we've sort of restored his image into popular culture through a fucking hologram. Cyberpunk
yeah.
shit, cyberpunk fucking
That is
shit.
fucking crazy.
Oh,
No, for real.
it's like,
Yeah, kind of
mm,
going to that, like, I honestly like there is certain if it's not a fully realized idea, when it comes to like art and stuff or just music, it should not see the light of day until like the artist is like, okay, it's finished. Like I don't think any artist, would want to have a work in progress as like an official piece, or then having somebody come in, an unwanted
exactly.
collab and say, okay, I'm gonna tweak this and I'm gonna finish it for you. Like, whoa, like, okay, first of all, who the fuck is you? Don't touch
Absolutely.
me. yeah, it's just, man, it's our creation. It's like a child, man. Like,
Oh, it is. And
yeah, it's
dude,
just crazy.
and what is it? Even we've had. I remember there are stories of art museum curators doing that shit to artists' work, where they'll like tear certain works, put it together, enhance the work according to like their style to like make it more appealing. Like people try to do that shit all the time, and then that's why NFTs are like solve all of that shit because you can freeze your metadata and nobody can fucking do a thing to it. You know, which is
That's
great.
crazy, man. Like the amount of like utilities that like NFTs has, like I'm really glad that it's like finally the things that needed to be addressed, or the things that you know what I mean is now happening.
It's
Like
true.
finally we're getting there. So I'm happy. Like there's no more situations similar to Bod Bros or similar to Basquiat or even
It's
Keith
true.
Haring. Like no, like everybody is fair game. You know, now it's fair. It's a bit of fairness now, so it's cool.
It's
It's cool
anyway,
there.
man. I look forward. Like I look forward to the future. It's like Mick Jenkins is in the space too. Like that's fucking wild,
Yeah, you see all these crazy people popping up in the space
right?
now. Like I saw Steve Aoki, I was like, what?
Yeah, yeah. Steve Aoki's like shit. I was like, fucking shit. We in this now. We in this.
Yeah, for real. Like we see, like it's so crazy too, because like the I think like not even what's the statistic? Not even 80% of the world knows about NFTs.
Oh
Like
yeah.
there are certain people who I'd be telling, I'm like, oh yeah, so I sell NFTs like for a living, and they're like, what's an NFT? And this is like that's like the general reaction or general
It's true.
like answer. So it's just crazy. Like I'm giving it 3 years honestly, even
Same.
before then,
Oh same.
where it's like adopted like nationwide or even like worldwide, where people were like they really know what NFTs are, like they're using it in their day-to-day lives. So once that happens, then the artists who are like popping off right now, they're gonna skyrocket.
Oh
I'm talking
absolutely.
like mansion money, like
Oh dude.
mansion money, like type stuff. So yeah, and then it's gonna seep through into other creators and stuff like that.
It's
And the ones who really need it the most, and it's just like, man, it's just I'm like you, just like you, bro. I'm excited,
oh
dude.
dude.
Like
It's
I'm excited.
like I've heard people say like it's gonna be the biggest thing of generational wealth transfer that
Oh
we've
yeah,
seen,
yeah, yeah.
and I legitimately believe it. And it's actually funny. Is if anybody, and to those listening, if you have bought an NFT, if you've bought a fucking pixel of an NFT from like now till like a year ago, I guarantee you, unless like you didn't do your fucking research and you aped into shit like a dumbass, right? You're either your the account, like NFTs are still illiquid, right? We still deal with that problem, but either the piece has appreciated, right? Or you've most people like it's like I guarantee you like the value has appreciated but it's illiquid somewhat, or the value's appreciated and it's liquid completely. Like that's the one
Mm.
thing I realized is, and it's like speaking to like the getting more people in is like through my first like art sales, I started buying art NFTs, and then now in times where my shit is going well, like when times are slow, my NFTs, I just like I know I have some money in the NFTs, and it's like when I look at it, because of the art decisions that I made, like the NFTs still are going up in value slowly, right? And so it's like one of those things where it just we like mansion money's gonna happen. Like I legitimately believe anybody who gets into this space now, like within 3 years, they're gonna have insane money because
Yeah,
NFTs are like where crypto was 3 years ago. Like you remember when like
yeah.
right?
You ain't lying. No, yeah. It's like the early Bitcoin adopters. That's what it feels like. That's exactly what it feels like.
It's
Like
yeah.
yeah,
It's like
yeah. I'm ready, bro.
same. I actually can't wait. Uh,
Hell yeah.
oh, I wanted to ask you before I end this, like, are you working on anything new or any cool
Uh,
projects?
Honestly, it's kind of weird because I just be kind of going with the flow, especially
Okay.
like with pieces and stuff like that. I do want to work on the collection,
Mm,
but I just gotta figure out what. Because honestly, like I would say that the Under the Sun, which is what I call it, the last four pieces I've created, I call it Under the Sun collection.
mm,
That's like fully completed, but I kind of want to move on to different themes and
okay.
different styles. I really want to test myself like visually, like more color theory, like what I mean, shit that like is gonna blow my mind. Because Man, honestly, I always be telling people this. I'm like, the worst thing you can be as an artist is predictable.
Yeah.
So like, I need to switch it up. I need to switch up my style. I need to really tap into to that inner child, you know, and to feel like, okay, I'm doing something that excites me. So right now, like, I just finished this piece, like, literally right before my laptop broke. I just bought a new battery, so it's gonna come in like by Thursday. So I'm gonna post it by Thursday or probably over the weekend. And I think that's probably gonna dictate the direction of
Okay.
my art for, like, you know, moving forward, but not like crazy. Just, I guess, for the next few pieces and stuff like that. I'm just gonna let you know it's called the Melodic Blue. That's what
Okay.
I'm calling the piece. It's called the Melodic Blue. But you'll see. You'll see. I hope you fuck with it, because
Oh,
I
dude.
definitely like it. I like it a lot. So yeah, I'm
I
excited, man.
like I fuck with pretty much all your work. Legitimate. It's
Thank you, dude.
dude,
Thank
like
you.
the colors, man. It just it's like color choice. My favorite thing is right when somebody like you do the James Jean thing where he uses contrasting colors to make them both pop, right? You realize
Yeah,
James Jean uses orange and blue pretty much
yeah,
together because both of them just make each other pop. And then I look at your stuff and I'm just like, oh wait, there's like the bright, like bright green and then bright purple and then like sort of like turquoise, and it's like just it's so colorful that it's like, well, like
yeah,
the best way to describe it is like it's a feast for the eyes, right? You're like just your eye
yeah.
just takes it all in and you're like, wow.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. I really try to make that happen. Like, I make stuff, like, you're kind of, it's like, it's so hard to not look at. You know, it's just so hard.
exactly.
Like, you know what I mean? Because every part of the piece needs to speak. You know, like, every corner. So I don't know if you really, like, notice that about the composition of my work, is that I like to make stuff like on each corner,
Mm,
like, you know, just balance, and there's something going on, you know, just like, you know, whether it be like really chaotic or colorful, or just like, you know, just like contrasting.
it's
Like,
true.
everything just needs to kind of move and just like flow, but even when you kind of step back, it all just comes together so, like, fluently. So, you know, I really, like, pride myself on that. But I'm a definitely, I got to step up my game, because I want to go like crazy. Like, you think this is cool, like, you know, but I'm
Okay.
like, nah, I'm not even satisfied no more. I'm like, I'm just like, nah, I gotta just go harder, dude. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Just, well, yeah, I want to go crazy.
Huh.
Like, so I'm excited, man. Now I got the funding. I got the
Okay.
funding now because NFTs. So
Yep.
now I can, like, you know, there's nothing really like taking away my attention because of, like, bills and shit. I'm like, okay, I got everything handled. You know what I mean? Okay, so
Exactly.
now, like, it's just, oh my god, it's like crazy as fuck. Like, now, like, I'm not worried. Like, I'm in a headspace right now. I'm just like, okay, like, I gotta find inspiration, not like I gotta find a job. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
Like,
true.
oh, I gotta find inspiration. Dude, I
Like
get so geeked, dude. Like, I'm really happy, man. I'm,
yo,
like, super happy.
you should be. I
Yeah,
mean, it's like one of the biggest struggles for artists is just to move from the fuck I need to pay my bills to like, oh, I need to do this for my own inspiration and I gotta
yeah.
build for myself because then legitimate like I notice it's like the work immediately just becomes better because
Oh yeah,
you yourself become aware of, oh, I'm doing this for myself. I'm not doing this to sort of, oh fuck, I gotta put in my 20 minutes after work of art. No, this is
yeah.
right.
Yeah, no, dead ass. You know, honestly, for anyone listening, this is like my biggest advice for anybody, man. Just like, don't give up like so soon. Like, honestly, like, I'm 24, about to be 25 next month, so I'm literally
Oh,
24.
happy
I've been
birthday.
doing this for like close to since I was like 19. Like, with, like, professionally, like, really put myself out. It's like 6 years,
Mm.
about, you know, or 5 6 years. But just, you know, to say that is like, it's just consistency. People telling you, people not really believing in you. You know what I mean? I mean, they see it. They're like, oh man, like, yo, this is some beautiful work. I was like, but are you sure you can make it as an artist? You know, you
Oh
know how
yeah.
many times I've heard that shit. It's like, bro, like,
Oh
no, I'm
yeah.
like, no, this is like legit. Like, I'm a full professional artist, but it's like that stigma. It's a stigmatism between being like a starving artist, and, you know, and people just assuming that, like, okay, you're not really gonna make like a lot of money, you know, through artwork and stuff like that. It's a very crippling mentality for a lot of people, and it sucks, man. And that's the thing that gets people, you know, away from art, you know, seeking it professionally. So for anyone who's listening, man, fuck the bullshit. I'm saying fuck them.
I
Fuck the
agree.
not even on no hating malicious shit. It's really just like you just gotta really like focus and really be on your shit, and then know that like, okay, this is what the fuck I want in my life, and really just hone that skill in, and also just like, if you're gonna do this, you gotta also realize that it's not just about the art. It's also about like the networking.
It's true.
It's about building the community. You know what I mean? I always preach this. I always preach this. There's no such thing as a self-made millionaire. You know what I mean? If someone's actually giving your time, if someone's
Hmm.
giving their time, giving their resources, their money to you, and all that stuff in pursuit of your dreams and pursuit of your happiness, you know what I mean? You're not self-made. You know what I mean? You built a system. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You can't just like promote just by yourself. You know what I mean?
One.
You need to build a foundation. You need to build a network of people who are going to push your stuff forward. You know what I mean? Because like if you try to carry the whole industry or the whole team or on your back, you know, you're going to burn yourself out. So like, you know, keep that in mind too. And also, another thing too, you know, I'm just like all
Hmm.
over the place with this.
No,
I
it's all
apologize,
good.
but
Oh no, I
no,
fucking love
but
it when that happens. Fuck, when we
yeah,
like to
and
go
also
off the
another
rails
thing,
here.
yeah. So passive income or just any like multiple sources of income, and you can find multiple sources of income through art. Is you don't only just have to sell paintings, like I would say, you know,
Absolutely.
prints, t-shirts, stickers, get into tattooing. You know, there's different avenues in art where you can make money, so you can actually like fund the vision, or you can fund the dream without going to like a 9 to 5. Like keep the passion, like
Exactly.
just really focus, you know what I mean? So yeah, just that, like that's the biggest thing, man. Just like really focus, man. Fuck the bullshit. Like really get your money up, like however way you can, in the ways you can, in the ways you want to get your money up, and all that stuff. And just man, like just know like what you want. Like
Exactly.
prioritize. Like that's all it is. It's not impossible. Like I thought this shit was impossible at a point in time until I started seeing the reception, and I was like, oh wait, nah. Like my life is like changed like
That's
drastically, and it's every day I wake up to this shit and I'm like, what the fuck?
that's actually
You know,
like I think
like
you've put it perfectly. Like it's not impossible, right? Because it's like
it's not.
as artists, like we have our idols that we're like, no way are we gonna get to as high as them. But
Yeah,
you have to convince yourself. You're like, okay, no, I can. I'm gonna try to go there, or at least to try. And it's like, legitimately, and to those listening, like if you start to pursue, like you will see signs that some like that you will be successful. Like
yeah,
I'm the type of person that, like, and to those listening, I'll be like fully honest, right? Like I haven't sold a single piece for an ETH yet, right? Like I haven't made that type of money. I'm just slowly selling my shit. But the thing that kept me here, and the sign that I got that was like, fuck it, I don't give a fuck if I sell out tomorrow or if I sell out in 10 years, was, you know, I'm a fine art kid, right? And so I go to school and I learn about Ai Weiwei for 4 years straight, right? I fucking love that man's art. You know, insane Chinese artist. Like the dude, the Chinese government destroyed his fucking multi-million-dollar studio because of the
damn,
art, because of the art he made. Right? It's like, I think one piece was like he discovered a school collapsed and a bunch of children passed away due to like the structural like error and shit, and like structural negligence, and he made a piece about it. He got jailed. You know, they destroyed his shit. He literally like was in a room with like people telling him he had to like ask if he can scratch his hair, and then he would tell them, I'm done scratching my hair, and they would tell him like, put your hands down. Okay, cool. Like that's the sort of shit he went to, right? And he's in Germany and he's making all that art, and it's like in school you're like, I just want to be like that person, but like how can I even get their attention, right? And then 3 months on NFT Twitter, I made a meme about him, tweeted it, and tagged him in it, and he followed me. And I was
oh,
like,
yeah.
shit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oh my god, like what? And then after that, I was like, come hell or high water, I'm in this space for life.
Oh, yeah. You know, honestly, man, one thing about doing this, it takes. I think with success, I really think that it takes a little bit of delusion,
It does.
a little bit of delusion, a little bit of, and when I say this, healthy narcissism, because you got to feel like you're the shit. You
It's
got to, you
true.
know what I mean? You got to be feeling like, okay, my shit is gas, man. I'm blessing these niggas when I'm dropping.
It's
You know what I
true.
mean? you have to kind of come in with that type of confidence, because I'm not gonna lie, like people will smell like that sort of sheiks in your armor. You know what I'm saying?
Oh
Like
yeah,
you gotta present yourself in a way where you know who you are, and like move with purpose, move with confidence, and move with
exactly.
like a sort of like, you know what I mean, like just with that, it's important, because like honestly, who's really gonna believe in you if you don't even believe in yourself? You know what I mean? Like, you ever see a salesman, like, hey, can I like
It's
sell you
true.
my thing if you don't mind? Like, it's like, well, yo, come on, can you just like say that with your chest? You know what I mean?
It's true.
That's why it's important, dude. And back to the delusion thing, sometimes like it really does take really believing in the impossible, really being so fucking delusional, thinking that anything is possible to make shit possible. That's just attraction, like, you know what I mean?
Oh,
So
I agree 100%. It's yeah,
yeah.
no, and it's like artists, we're lucky because we have that little bit of delusion in our heads already. It's
Yeah,
just like it's there. It's like okay,
yeah,
yeah. I mean,
it's like embedded. Yeah.
it's like yeah, for us, like we're actively choosing to spend 8 hours with ourselves painting and drawing and shit. Like fuck, you have to be crazy to do that shit.
Yeah, we're really insane if you think about it, man. Like the shit that artists be doing, it's like, and it's so crazy too. Because like if you talk to like any like normal person, I don't even say like normal, but kind of normal. You know what I mean? Like people who don't really like follow art, who really don't do
Mhm.
art, who it's just crazy to see like the contrast between people. Because I remember when I was like doing Uber, you know what I mean, and I was
Mhm.
driving and all that stuff, and I remember I had like this conversation with like, this one passenger.
Mhm.
And then I was just talking, they're like, "Oh, so what do you do for a living?" I was like, "Yeah, so I do art and all that stuff." And I'm like really into it. And I was like the way I was like, talking about, I was like so passionate about it. And then I was like, "So what are you guys passionate about?" And they're just like, like it's just so quiet, you know? It's like
Yep.
the awkwardness, like, dang, like you kind of realize that like the thing that you got going on for you, you know what I mean? The thing that you spend 8 hours a day doing, locked into your room while you're playing the same music for 13 hours straight,
Yep.
like, that sort of insanity is not like normal, or is not as like as a like common as you would think it is, you know what I
It's
mean?
true.
Is you really are like a gem, and like don't let anybody make you feel like copper, when you're like a diamond, like, because that shit that you got going, it's so like precious. It's more precious than oil, in my opinion. You know
Oh,
what I
it's
mean? Like creative, yeah, the creative mind, it generates more wealth than actual physical natural resources.
oh, absolutely. Oh,
So
that's very true. I like, dude,
yeah.
you're dropping fucking knowledge. Holy shit. I
Yeah.
that's actually that's the perfect way to end this. Actually, holy shit, you're just like dropping some nice wisdom. Fucking damn.
Oh
Oof.
yeah.
Well, I've
Yeah.
included your links in the description. I have put your Twitter, your foundation, and the link to your website. Um, I actually can't. Jevin Crow. I can't pronounce it correctly. I
Oh yeah.
apologize.
Well, I mean, yeah, technically this pronounced it right, but it's like the
Okay.
V is supposed to be like an upside down A.
Okay.
So it's like Jankro,
Jan
but
Crow. Okay.
yeah, I just tell people to call me Goliath.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the your Twitter, the foundation, and your website are there. Everybody go check them out. Go follow
Appreciate you,
him on
bro.
Twitter. Oh, I'll also put your Instagram down there as well because your Instagram is pretty sick. I think it's
Appreciate you.
um
Thank you,
and
man.
yeah.
Thank you, honestly. Thank you for having this talk, man. Like, this was fun, man. Honestly, let's chop it up as much as we can. Like, actually, I'm trying to do another space if Twitter allows it. Um, I don't know what's going on, but yeah, like, if you want, is always on Fridays,
Okay.
3 p.m. Mountain time, so it's like 5 p.m. Eastern Standard. If anyone who's listening, they want to kind of come in, we have discussions. It's not really even a lecture; it's just like conversations. Like, feel free. This week's topic is going to be art on drugs, so we're going to be talking about that. You know what I mean? Just like the drugs and the
Hey.
impact it has like on the art world and stuff like that, and just like anything like revolving around that sort of topic or subject. So yeah,
Now I'm definitely gonna be in that. I'm gonna be in
yeah,
that spaces. And
yeah.
yeah, to those listening, the Twitter spaces that Goliath hosts are actually a lot better than some of the shill me your art Twitter spaces. Legitimately, it's like it because it's like it's so much nicer to naturally talk about your art as it comes up than to like, hey, hello, I am this artist. This is what I'm gonna shill you on.
Oh yeah, because them motherfuckers make it feel like show and tell, and I hate that
Yeah, I
shit.
hate it too. It's like
I fucking hate it. I'm like,
It's
Like,
crazy.
yeah, not like, oh yeah, nah.
Well, thank you for coming on, and to those listening, go follow him on Twitter. Go say hi. Go buy his work. It is amazing. And I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye.